Driving in South Africa as an American, oh my gosh. Let's talk about it, y'all. Driving on the right side, I would say, and I'm open to my other Americans or those who have driven on the left side predominantly, in their life to weigh in. What side would you say is the best side?
What's up, beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of Don't Keep Up With the Joneses. 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 Don't keep up with the Joneses.
What's up, beautiful people, to another episode, which we are going to be talking about life in SA, which I look to do like a question a week and also bring on Chrystle as well as we progress in this journey. And all you have to do is let us know in the comment section below of any questions that you all may have about our life. Now, we beginning questions and I'll be like, all right, let's go ahead and get to answering them. And here's the start to just that. And the first question I want to answer is, one crazy thing that I like to know is, how did you learn to drive in SA coming from the States? Driving on the other side of the road must have been awkward to you, but this is something I would love to learn. What's your experience and how did you learn? All right, so fun thing about this one is I'll just give 3 facts because I believe, we can palate that. But nonetheless, the first one is watch somebody drive first. If I could repeat that 1,000 times, I would do so. Watch somebody drive first. Now, being in SA, it was something totally different. The whole driving experience, of course, driving on the other side, as far as like steering wheel wise in the vehicle, that's a whole nother aspect. The way the roads operate is a whole nother aspect. The road signs are a whole nother aspect. There could be lights on in some traffic 4 ways, and then there could be lights off. That's a whole nother experience. So all that to say, watch somebody drive first before you get the idea or inkling that you could drive yourself. Because when we left the airport, we did a Uber, and it picked us up from the airport, drove us to our destination, our hotel, and watching how everything operated, I was like, hold on, wait a minute. One, because the interstates are large in SA, which could be different from where you are from, because in the States, different interstates are different lengths, whereas in like Atlanta, you can have like 6 to 8 lane interstates. Houston, Texas, you can have big lane interstates as well, where you can go and come from a smaller state or city and you're used to like 2 or 3, and you're like, oh, okay, I can maneuver around here. Well, no. Leaving the airport in SA, in Johannesburg specifically, like those interstates, I believe is like 5 lanes, right? Minimum 5 lanes, and you may be nervous crossing it. And so remember, you're on the opposite side, like maneuvering the opposite way, and then it's a big interstate nonetheless as well, and it could be just overall debilitating. However, when I watched the Uber driver do it, I was like, okay, this is how we flow. This is how we go. And then on top of that, you also have the speed. Whereas in here, we're used to miles per hour on the speedometer, but there it's kilometers or kilometers, one of the two. I'll put it down below, per hour. And it's like, whoa. So it may say like, the speed limit is 120 or 100. And you're like, oh snap, I'm about to floor it. But no. You have to let that state's mindset go and pick on the mindset of, okay, no, I'm under the metric system now, which is a whole nother category. And so all those reasons why watching somebody else do it first is going to be the best case scenario, because you're able to learn how people allow for lane changes, or if you're at a robot or a traffic light and the light is out, you have to like tap into the, okay, this is like a 4-way stop, so I'm gonna let them go, and then they go, then I go, and then boom, yep, okay, everything flows and goes. Not to mention, on top of that, there's the element of the taxis. I think enough has been said on YouTube about taxis in SA, but if I was to add anything to it, I would just say let them do what they do. Don't try to change how they're driving. Don't try to get in the way of them driving. Let them do what they do, and let them have the far lane to like the side of the sidewalk. Just let them have it. It is what it is. Get out their way, okay? But if you watch somebody else drive first, then you'll be in a better case scenario, because it'll make your life easier. And then it goes to step number 2, ladies and gentlemen. When it is your time to drive, just do it. Don't think about it. Don't hesitate. Don't question it. Don't wonder it. Get behind the steering wheel and drive. Drive as you would drive wherever you are coming from, wherever you are visiting from. Because if you delay, if you hesitate, it's going to cause such chaos on the road that you don't want to be a part of. So just going for it. Like even myself, when I rented our car from the airport, you have to drive through like this spiral scenario, which was nerve-wracking in the beginning. And then you're right there on the interstate and you just have to go. Let the GPS, do its thing, and then you go for it. If I would suggest anything, do it with 2 people, so that one person can look at the directions and tell you which way to go, and you could just focus on driving. Because truth be told, those first day or 2, you'll be looking more so at the road, just making sure you're where you need to be before you can like look around at road signs, street signs, traffic lights, robots, or anything that's going on around you. And so having somebody to direct the traffic is going to be so much better than what it would have been if it's just you trying to look at a GPS on your phone or whatever device, trying to figure out how to drive. In some cases, they're not even like street signs where you can like know, okay, this is road such and such to make my left on. And so you're really just trying to figure out and line up where it says to turn left, if this is actually the left. And so having somebody do it with you is going to be so much better. However, just do it. And even kudos to my lovely wife, Chrystle, when it was time for her to drive, because she thought she was just gonna ride the whole time we were living in SA. Oh, no. That wasn't my plan, so therefore it wasn't our plan. But when it was time for her to drive, she just went for it. She saw other people do it, the Uber driver. She saw me do it. She knew where she was going. She was comfortable with the route, and so she just did it. She did it, she made it back, and she was good to go from there. And then she started driving to Dragon City. She started driving through the city itself. She started going for it herself, and I was so proud of her because she made it happen. She made it back. And the car wasn't damaged in the meantime, in between time. And so that's number 2. Again, the first step is watch somebody do it first. That's truly how I learned the lay of the land, learned how the roads operated, learned how it all maneuvered in the overall culture of the streets went about. But then once I did it, secondly, I just went out there and did it. But then thirdly, great people. If I could tell you anything as far as learning how to drive in SA, taking off my state's driving hat and putting on the SA way of driving, I would say you learn as you go. Why do I say that? Because every element, every day is going to be different. Driving at nighttime is different than driving during the day. Driving during load shedding is different than driving without load shedding. I was about to say driving without taxis, but it's always going to be taxis on the road depending on where you are. It's going to be an element as opposed to not. Driving when there are roadblocks or police stops, that's a whole experience as opposed to driving when there aren't any. Driving when you're illegal is totally different than driving when you are legal. Thankfully, we were legal in every respect, as opposed to there was one time where we were pulled over and we were told we needed a traffic register number, which we didn't have, nor were we told that we needed to have it. And so in that case, we were driving a little dirty, but nonetheless, he let us go, which there's a whole video on that. Check that out, where we had that experience. We did get the traffic register number, and so we were legal. We are legal to this day. If we were to go back and drive around, I'd be good to go. However, all that to say, driving is uniquely, specifically different throughout your driving experience. And so the best thing to do in learning is to talk amongst your community, talk and share about experiences you've had during your journey of driving, and you'll come into the knowledge of the culture and the ways, whether it's thirst involved or not, if you know, you know. But all that to say, you'll understand like what to do. You'll understand the lay of the land. You'll understand which areas not to go into in certain times of the day and what areas is okay to go in no matter what the time of the day is. And overall, I will say, and this is like a bonus or whatever, driving on the right side in the vehicle is better. I honestly just want all y'all to know that. Driving on the right side is better. When we came back, driving on the left side felt awkward. It felt like I was wrong driving on the left side as opposed to what we were doing driving on the right side. Driving on the right side honestly just flows better. Like, looking over your right shoulder to check a blind spot is cool. Looking on the left, seeing everything is great. Like, the only awkward moment I had or we had driving on the right side was like drive-throughs. Because I mean, it was like tight, it's narrow, and so you're a little nervous parking in, all those things. But truth be told, driving on the right side, I would say, and I'm open to my other Americans or those who have driven on the left side predominantly, you know, in their life to weigh in. What side would you say is the best side? Because I'm gonna say the right side is the best side. It just felt natural, it felt right, pun intended, and it felt like I knew where I was supposed to be. And the funny part of that is, like the first 4 times walking to the vehicle, you will walk to the wrong side. If you're like trying to do on the driver's side, you're gonna walk on the left side at least 4 times before you get it locked in that no, the steering wheel is on the right side, so the driver needs to go to the right side. But outside of that, driving on the right side is great, it's grand, it's fabulous. And if you take those first 2 steps, right, in the tips, you'll do so great, you'll do so well, it'll be so luxurious and fabulous for you, and you'll wonder why the rest of the world, aka the states and other countries around the world that is driving on the left side, why don't you just switch to the right side? And I will say, even it was odd seeing there are even vehicles in SA that have left wheel steering, and I'm like, man, you're doing yourself such a disservice. Like, you truly are, because everything else is flipped. And so I could only imagine the brain exercise that they have to go through each and every day while driving, because being on the right, the road is flipped, the turns are flipped, and so everything lines up. For example, driving on the right side, exiting the interstate is going to be on the left. Whereas here in the States, we drive on the left side and we exit the interstate on the right. And so tweaks like that are all in accordance with the opposite switching of the steering wheel. You see what I'm saying? Opposite switching. But in it all, with the all great people, that I believe is the answer to question number 1. And again, keep the questions rolling, keep the questions flowing. And as we do so, it'll allow for us to like remember what life was like in SA and how great, fabulous, and grand it truly was. And so thank you, my brother, for this opportunity to share and to give my perspective on the driving, learning, hurdle, and experience of driving in SA. But in it all, with it all, we love you all, we appreciate you all. Keep it flowing, keep it going, and we'll keep this communication going as well. Until next time,